upset. I'm flabbergasted. I just recorded a whole uh, a whole episode, mostly, and even though I checked it before I started recording, when I played back, there was an echo. So here we are, running it back. I hope this is as good as the first time because I was on the fucking roll. I'm irritated. Anyway, let me get my handy dandy notebook. So I've spent a lot of my life. I spent a lot of my life with my head in a fog, really. And because I did not really know better, I've dealt with a lot of people who have mistreated and emotionally abused me. And that just really is what it is. I know people don't like to say the abuse word when it's not like physical violence, but people be emotionally abusive, they be psychologically abusive, and that type of stuff. As someone who has also been in a physically abusive relationship, that stuff lasts to me a lot longer, because it makes you question everything about you. So I made this reel, and I was talking about being confident in yourself and being confident in who you are. And because I've been in these situations where, because I was not confident in myself, it's almost like certain people can sniff out other people. They can sniff out certain things in other people. They can sniff out insecurities. They can sniff out uncertainties. They can sniff out self-esteem issues. They can sniff out daddy issues. They can sniff out mommy issues. Like, it's almost sick. And it's even sicker when you realize, because people are people, that a lot of them are doing it like subconsciously. They are not in their mind thinking that this is what they're doing, but it is what they're doing. That was actually something that was hard for me to coincide to, but that's a conversation for another day. But in that reel, I was making that statement because I've dealt with people who have used my lack of confidence and my lack of self-awareness and my lack of knowledge of self against me. I remember specifically, I was in this argument with this person that I had really gone out of my way for. Like, I let this person move in with me. If they needed my help with anything, I helped them. Really to, one, because that's who I am as a person. If you are somebody that's in my circle, somebody that I really mess with, like I really have love for you, whether romantic or platonic, it doesn't matter. If you're someone who needs me, I will do what I can. I'll do everything I can to help you. In whatever capacity that I can do that. That doesn't always mean I can give people money, but can I run you to the store? Can I take you? Can I get you some food? Like, however, do you need to come sleep on my couch? Do you need to come take a shower? Like, whatever I can do to help you, that's what I'm gonna do. And so, it's hard too, because that's who I am naturally as a human being, but because I have had trauma in the past, I do have issues that make me, or that have made me in the past, kind of someone who is a people pleaser and someone who seeks external validation. So it's kind of hard to reconcile those two different parts of yourself, especially even now as someone who is more aware and kind of on the more healed side. I don't want to say completely healed, because that's not a thing. But it's hard. Sometimes I have to ask myself why I'm doing certain things. Are you doing this because you are genuinely doing it, or are you trying to get a specific reaction or a specific response? So anywho, so I was having an argument with this person, and they would say things. They would do stuff like this all the time. When we would get in an argument, they'd be like, "And you don't never do shit for me anyway, and you don't never help me. You ain't never there for me. You don't even care about me. You don't even love me. Blah 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 blah." And I'm one of those people that like, and this has actually always been the case, but because I did not trust myself, I never trusted this. I've always been able to read people. That just is what it is. Literally always. I have always been able to read a person. Oftentimes I've been able to call out how a situation is going to happen. That's never really been my issue. My issue has been giving people the benefit of the doubt or giving them the chance to prove me wrong. That don't be happening either. I'll be right. But, and you would think like after the second time you would start trusting yourself, but that's not how it works in my mind. It's not, because it's not a clear-cut thing all the time. It's not a black and white thing. But anyway, so he would say these things, right? And in my mind, a part of me is knowing, I know that you're just saying this to get me to act a certain way. But then when the argument is over and we're in a better space, guess what I do? Exactly what he wants me to do, or exactly what they want me to do. Act that certain type of way. I'm still trying to get the validation, like, okay, see, now I'm finna go even harder. So you see, I mess with you, I fuck with you, I have love for you, I got your back, I'm there for you. Girl, what? That's not, sis. But that's why I say it is so super important to know who you are and stand on it. That's like the even more important part. Stand on it. Because now, and actually after that argument, so what started to happen was I started to realize, and not even realize, I'm sorry, I just bumped the mic, but not even realize, because I already knew, but I started to like really think out what was happening in real time. Like, what exactly are you doing? And what's crazy is, when you're healing or when you're trying to be different than you've always been, because I've always been this person, and we'll talk about that in a second, but I've been like this because since childhood, right? Because a lot of the times our parents are actually responsible for how we interact in relationships, because one, how we interact with them, but two, how they interact with people they're in relationships with, whether it's your other parent or other people, right? You see that, you think things are normal that are not normal. So I started to think about this person knows that I have been good to them. They know that they can count on me. They know that they can call on me and I'll be there. How do I know they know this? Because they always call on me. And more importantly, regardless of whether they are going to admit it out loud or not, or whether they even know or not, you fucking know what you've done for this person, and you know who you are as a person, not even what you've done for this person and that just makes me a good person because I do. No. But you know who you are. You know that you will go out of your way for this person and anybody that you love. So why are you then overextending yourself to prove a point to this person that is purposely not seeing or purposely denying what you've done or denying what you've shown them so that they can manipulate you? Like, what the hell are you doing, ma'am? And so once I kind of like realized that, I started to I started to make it a point, like I'm not, and it's hard too, because like I said, I started to make it a point to kind of ask myself, why, again, like I just said, why are you doing this thing? Are you doing this to prove a point? And I started to have to actively stop myself from doing stuff that I would actually normally do in a normal situation where a person wasn't being toxic to me. But now I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go out of my way to, if I'm cooking for myself, I'm cooking for myself. I'm not cooking for everybody in the house. I'm cooking for me. And even though I'm not that type of person, it don't even feel right. Like, and I've been in houses with people who are like that, right? I've lived in houses with people who are like that. You will be in their whole house, they go in the kitchen, cook, knowing everybody in the house hungry, cook for themselves, go in the room, close the door, or come out and eat in your face. Why? But we're guests in your home. That's weird to me. Maybe that's just me, but that's weird to me. And but now I'm having to act a different type of way because I'm not going to keep being taken advantage of, and I'm not going to keep being manipulated. And then I start to have to ask myself, if you have to change who you are around people or around this person, perhaps this is somebody that you shouldn't be around. Because I don't want to have to mute parts of myself to be around anybody. I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to have to do tit for tat shit. When me and my friends hang out, you know how your friend come and pick you up and drive you somewhere and you offer them the gas money. I don't need that. I don't want that. All right, cool. Next time we go out, I'll pay for dinner. I'm not saying this, but the next time we go out, I pay for dinner. And it's nothing, because this person is going to take care of you. This person has your back. If you need anything, this person got you, and you got this person. But it's not the same when you're around people who don't operate like that. And so I don't want to have to start operating like you just so we can be in proximity to each other. When I have people that rock the way I rock and I can be my full self with them, I'm not doing that. So now I have to just revoke access. And it's toxic. Okay, so when you're in certain situations, right? And I have been both an actual toxic person and a person who is trying very much not to move a certain type of way and not be toxic in a toxic situation. So I hope that made sense. I have been both a toxic person in a too toxic person situation, like we was both toxic, and I've been in situations where I'm trying not to be toxic. I'm trying to be rational. I'm trying to have productive conversations. I'm trying to move a certain type of way, and that person is being toxic. So we're in a toxic situation. And what happens when you're in those situations is that you start to feel like you are a toxic. And I guess there is a part of you that is like, because you're still in it, but I personally wouldn't call you toxic. Because again, people don't like to say what things are, but when you're trying to have productive conversations with people and they're purposely tearing you down, trying to hurt your feelings, that's abuse. I don't know why people don't understand that, but I noticed that sometimes we don't call that what it is, because I feel like, but that's what it is. Like, that's an abusive trait. That's an abusive behavior. And when you are in certain situations and you are trying to be the best person that you can be to a person that is giving you the worst version of them, you do start to react a certain way. You start to because you're in survival mode, right? And on that reel I was talking about that I made, my friend, she used the term reactive abuse, which I don't think I had ever heard said like that, but that's exactly what it is. And it makes you feel, again, it makes you feel like you're a toxic person when you are just trying to protect yourself. I remember being in an argument with this person, and anytime we got into an argument, I tried to enter into because I was never trying to argue. I was always just trying to have a conversation. Now, I do want to say that sometimes, because I am not perfect, because I am not fully healed, I do enter conversations with too much venom in my voice. And even though I'm not trying to, I can't always necessarily hear it. So I'm trying to like mute how I feel and talk to you real like, okay, so here's the issue. And so that I'm not too energetic, so there's not too much spice. So I'm just trying to talk. But no matter how I approach the situation, I could literally sit down and be like, listen, I want to talk to you about this. You got a second, blah, blah, blah. And I know I'm sounding like this. Sometimes I don't know how it sounds. Sometimes I do. But I know how I'm coming into it because I know what I would like for the outcome to be. But no matter what I said and no matter how I try to approach it, some way, somehow, we are now in an argument. And now I'm being overstimulated, even though I'm saying, okay, can we please stop for a second? Because this is becoming too much. And the person will not stop. They just keep, and they're ramping up. They're getting, and so I'm putting my hands over my ears because I'm like, bro, can you please just stop for a second? And because I only have so much please stop in me. I'm human. So now I'm finna start yelling at you. And now I am being toxic, but it's like, how many times can I ask you to stop before it's okay for me to defend myself? Before it's okay for me to, I don't even want to say yell back, but if you yelling at me, like, what am I supposed to do? And I remember too, like, situations where I would walk off, like I'm gonna go in the room and close the door, yelling through the door. Like, this is the most toxic shit. I want no parts of this. This is starting to not feel normal. And again, there was a time in my life where that type of interaction, yelling, getting mad, it feels normal. And I think that too, I don't want to put that all on, you know, what I've seen growing up. I think too that some of it has to do with what we see on television. Because I think that when I watch, especially when I was younger, like I feel like that whole like, oh, we're passionate, so we fight and then we make up passionately. Like that shit was like a big thing when I was growing up. It probably still is. But it's like, that shit is just toxic. It's not who is writing this stuff? Like, who is putting this out into the world and making us think like this is how things are supposed to be, this is how women are supposed to act, and it's okay, and this is how men act, and it's okay? It's not okay. Everybody got to get their shit together. Stop thinking that TV is real. It's not. I mean, some of it is. Sometimes I believe they be putting stuff in movies that's going to happen. But that's another conversation for another day. So yeah, like when you're in an abusive situation and you're trying to be, and a lot of times it is romantic situations and it's with somebody that you love. This was not the case for me, but you're trying to wait for something to click for this person, and you feel like if you just say the right thing or say the same thing you've been saying the right way, that they'll finally understand it and you guys can come to, which I also think is some shit we got from television. You can come to an understanding right there in that moment and everything will be okay. But that shit don't happen when, and I don't want to say that it can't happen and it never happens, but I will say it doesn't happen when you have someone who doesn't, or when you have people who won't see their faults, who won't see where they are wrong. And again, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, because I've had situations with women, female friends, that this is very toxic and I don't understand this. I had this girl that I was really, really cool with, and she used to do these little like weird things where we would be cool and then she would find a reason to like low-key lash out, and then she would apologize after we had this whole like little, and again, this is at a point where I'm not feeling normal about arguing with motherfuckers. Why are we arguing? We could just convert. We could just have a conversation. We can just talk and come to an understanding. We don't have to yell. And I know I have a loud voice, but we don't have to yell. We don't have to do too much. And even if we leave here and we still don't understand each other, it don't have to be a whole screaming match. It don't have to be a, you don't understand. Like, it don't have to be none of that. And so that type of shit was just weird to me. Like, yeah, that type of shit was just weird to me. And dealing with those type of people, like I said, it had me realizing that this is not my tribe. These are not my people, because my people don't talk to me like this. They don't act like this. And what's crazy too is, so me and my best friend have been friends for, we met 10 years ago, and we have seen different versions of each other where he and I used to fight. Now, not often, but we've had like yelling matches at each other. Now we wouldn't fucking dare. Now it's like, well, let's just have a conversation. Like, let's just sit down and talk. Because we were two people who, one, loved each other enough to grow and not want to continue being toxic, not want to continue communicating the way that we've always communicated outside of our friendship and within our friendship. And we were two people growing, right? But we were committed to it. So it's like, okay, now we're going to have a conversation. Let's sit down and have a conversation. Let's not yell at each other. Let's not let this get too crazy, because we have a certain level of respect for each other. We don't have to do that. Those are the type of people I want around me. I don't want people who think that it's okay to get mad and now you're attacking me. You're attacking the way that I look. You're bringing up old ass shit that ain't got nothing to do with it just to throw some stuff, throw some fuel to the fire. Like, I'm just not here for anything that's not productivo. And the reason that I even wanted to talk about this is because I feel like, and I'm gonna make this point probably a lot throughout this show or this podcast. If things are not extreme enough, sometimes they get ignored or they get minimized. Being in an emotionally abusive relationship, whether it's with your parents, whether it's with your boyfriend or girlfriend, whether it's with your dog, whether it's with your teacher, like whether it's with your best friend, whether it's with your cousin, it doesn't matter. It is traumatizing. And it's not a small thing. It is a big deal. And I don't want it to be, well, so-and-so didn't put their hands on me, or we never fought like that, or, I mean, sometimes we talk to each other crazy, but No, no, no. You don't have to deal with that at all. You don't have to deal with that at all. You don't have to deal with that from anybody. If you are someone who is really trying to be better and trying to heal, and this is what something that I had to really understand about myself. What other people do is none of my fucking business. If you want to be like this your whole life, that's on you. I don't want to be like this. So if that means that because you're stuck on being this way and I'm dedicated to not, if that means that I have to limit communication with you, unfortunately, that's what I'm going to do. And you're not going to make me feel bad about it at all. At all. And I'm saying that, but when I first started doing it, I felt like shit. I felt so bad. Cutting people off, I felt bad, especially because once I have a love for you, it takes a very, very long time for that to go away, if ever, depending on how much I loved you. Because some people I used to love and I have nothing for them now. Nothing. But some people I'll always love and or I always have love for. And you don't have to deal with it. So if you're setting your boundary, you're saying, hey, listen, I am happy to continue our friendship, but when we get in these conversations and I'm trying to tell you how I feel about stuff and you are disrespecting me, you're cursing me out, you're not listening to anything that I have to say, you're talking over me, and they're not respecting what you're saying, and they're not respecting your boundaries, and now they've found a way to try to pull you into another situation, feel free to walk the fuck away. Feel free to cut them off. And again, it doesn't matter if it's your mother. If people will not let you have peace, they do not deserve space in your life. And that's to me, that was like one of the greatest lessons I learned. If you are not going to let me have peace, you ain't got to be here. Bye. Because I value my peace all over so many other things. I worked so hard to get to a place of peace, and I'm not going backwards because y'all want to be Neanderthals. Like, I'm not doing it. It's so much that comes along with that too, and I don't want to make this too long because there are plenty of other episodes where we could talk about all of the different aspects of like when you are in abusive relationships or when you are trying to heal. And again, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm gonna stop saying that because I feel like you guys know that. I'm not gonna stop saying it. But when you are trying to get out of it, it's like it's one of the hardest things because you literally have to start chopping off all of the people that a lot of them have been a part of your life for a long time, or for like standing your ground. You can be in my life, but you're not gonna talk to me crazy. So how we gonna move forward? It's really up to you, because I've said my piece. Now it's up to you to act accordingly, or you can go, because I'm always gonna respect you. I'm not going to talk to you crazy. I'm not going to do any of that. But anyway, so that's my little talk for today. And like I said, I'm going to talk more about it because I feel like, this is what I was saying. I feel like when we minimize certain types of abuse and we don't like to call things certain things, but it's like, that's what it is. And as long as you can address it as what it is, you can change it. I have been an abuser before and I did not know it. An emotional abuser. I was emotionally manipulative, of course. I was. And I'm going to talk about that. But I didn't know that's what that was. I did not know that that's what that was. So when it was called out to me and I really thought about it, like, oh shit. So now I've got to make amends if I can. Because again, I'm not perfect. I have been toxic before. And I don't want to go back. That's it for today. Peace. I love you guys so much. Bye. Thanks for coming.